Good morning, everyone. We are embarking today on a long journey into the world of brachos, of the blessings that we make over our foods. This is something that obviously occupies the life of a Jew often, as that means that any time that a person partakes of food which he's deriving benefit from, pleasure on his palate, and so on and so forth, as we will see, it requires a person to make a bracha, to make a blessing. And therefore the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, like the Shulchan Aruch itself, dedicates many seifim, many chapters to the laws of blessings, and we are embarking today on those halachas, on those laws as well. Now this is really Siman Memches, which is the 48th chapter in the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, and it's called Dinei Brachos Amaichalim Mechameshes Mine Dagon. It's the laws of the blessings that are made upon food from the 5 species, which we're going to have to discuss what those 5 species are. And therefore, we have a hagdama, we have an introduction that we should understand what's going on. And that means like this. There are foods that are made from 5 types of grain, these 5 species. And let's keep these 5 species in mind. It's wheat, barley, spelt, oats, and rye. Okay, whenever we're describing the chamisha minim, the 5 species of grains, we're talking about these 5: wheat, barley, spelt, oats, and rye. And they themselves end up having their own special bracha, their own blessing that doesn't exist by other types of food products and staples that we have. Now the reason that they derive such a special status is because since that when you grind up these grains and you convert them into flour, and then you mix them with water and perhaps eggs and oil and whatever it might be that's making this loaf of bread, you can take these grains, which were lowly little grains, convert them into the highest level possible, which is bread, because as we know, lechem, bread, is the mainstay of any meal. And therefore, since that these grains are so important and valuable in the eating process, which give us the mainstay of our livelihood and our sustenance, a special bracha was made on these grains. And that, as we're going to see, is Boirei Minei Mezainis, the one who creates the species of nourishment, which means that when it will become bread, as we know, it's going to become hamaitzi. But when they're going to be eaten, cooked as they are, or in other shapes and forms, the special blessing over there is going to be Boirei Minei Mezainis. Now, as we pointed out, when this grain, the wheat, barley, spelt, oats, or rye, is made into bread, which, as we said, is the staple, basic staple of all meals, now it's reached the highest level of importance as food, and it became bread, which requires netilas yadayim, washing of the hands, the halachas that we learned previously, and you have to make a hamaitzi before you eat it, which we learned those laws previously as well. And it also requires at the end of the eating, birchas hamazon, which is the grace after meals, which are halachas that we learned as well together. Now, if these grains are made into flour and they're baked in any way which they're not used as bread, for example, pies, cakes, cookies, crackers, so on and so forth, even though that it's not considered bread the way that it is, in certain instances, if you eat enough of them, as we're going to learn, it can still be considered pas bread, and you would still have to wash and make a hamoitzi. But in general, when it comes to these type of products that are made out of the 5 grains, that are the cookies, the crackers, the cakes, so on and so forth, then the bracha over there is going to be Boirei Minei Mezainos, as we mentioned before. One other aspect that we have that we're going to discuss in regarding these halachas is what's called Iker v'Tafel, which means the main food, and the tafel, that which is subordinate. As we're going to see later on in the halachas, meaning that when you have a mixture of mezainos, of these grains, and something else, for example, if you have your cereal, your Cheerios, which is mezainos, and you have it, milk is in there, what's the ikr, what's the main thing, and what is the tafel, what is subordinate? What would you make the bracha on, and what would you not make the bracha on? That's also an area where you have to know the details of the halacha well, and we're going to cover that as well. This is the introduction to the laws of brachos, which initiates with the laws over the chameshes haminim, which is the 5 species, again, which is wheat, barley, spelt, oats, and rye. And tomorrow, Be'ez Hashem, we will begin the words of the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. Wishing everybody a wonderful day.